I'm the one sharing here.
Aye. Oh. Yes. Okay.
Comrades, I have not finished. I have not finished giving the profile of Mama Emma Mashinini before she gets the bronze, the award, and take the stage and talk to the Congress. I do understand why you interrupted. During the time when political organizations were banned and many union leaders were forced to go underground or into exile, Mama Mashinini was elected into the national executive of the National Union of Clothing Workers. And in 1975, she took up the position as the General Secretary of a new union, CAUSA, the predecessor to SACAU, which was affiliated to COSATU and FIAT. She was arrested in 1981 under Section 6 of the Terrorism Act by the apartheid regime and spent the next 6 months in solitary confinement in Pretoria Central Prison. After her release from prison in 1982, she defied the advice to leave abroad and instead resumed her post as SACAU for another 4 years. At that time, under the height and intensified apartheid regime aggression and segregation, unions in particular, black and non-racial, were not allowed to occupy and be tenants of certain buildings owned by certain landlords. As a result thereof, only South African Council of Churches was prepared to accommodate some unions, and CAUSA was one of them. And that resulted into Khotso House, the headquarters of the SAC, being bombed. And the leader of the SACC at the time, who provided that accommodation and very accommodative, and also a leader in his own right in the struggle, was Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And in 1985, Comrade Mashinini was very key in the formation of COSATU. At times, as a stalwart, even then, she played mediatory role when some two factions were at the throats of each other. It took 4 painstaking years to form COSATU, with Comrade Emma Mashinini at the helm of that formation. And I'm sure when she was listening to Vavi, she might have had to see that COSATU can, at the wink of an eye, be destroyed. When President Nelson Mandela was elected, a first democratically elected president, he appointed Mama Emma Mashinini in the Land Commission responsible for reforms and land restitution. She was also key and central in the formation of the now so important NEDLAC, the National Economic Development and Labor Council, that plays a role in formulating most of the laws that the government passes in the country, in particular those that relate to economy and labor. I thank you, Comrade Joe, and Comrade Philip. You can then present to Mama the deserved award.
We are the women, no women, no cry in the struggle. No women, no cry. We are the women, no women, no cry. sozabalaza, ezabalaza, ezabalaza, sozabalaza, 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 sozabalaza. We are the women, no women no cry, we in the struggle. No women no cry, we are the women. No women no cry, we in the struggle. No women no cry, so zabalaza, so zabalaza, so zabalaza, 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 zabalaza. We are the women, no women no cry in the struggle.
It is my great honour to make this Freedom from Fear Award to Emma Mashinini. It's an honour for me particularly because something like 30 years ago, at a meeting of Fiat, one of the predecessor organisations of UNI, I had the great honour of meeting Emma when she was in fact the leader of her union here in South Africa. I remember it very clearly because she was introduced to me at the time as being one of the great union leaders in South Africa who was opposed to apartheid. And I have remembered that meeting ever since. So for me today, at what is my final Congress, and as your president, to be able to make this award to Emma is in fact something that is deeply moving to me and certainly a great honour. So on your behalf, I do present her with this Freedom from Fear Award.
I can speak. Yes. Is this thing audible? Can they hear me?
Can you hear Emma?
I mean,
Yes, you can, yes.
or they can, yeah. Good evening to everyone who is here today. And firstly, I want to say thank you for the honor. Thank you for the recognition given to me. Because all the years of my life, I've been fighting for recognition of the trade unions and other organizations so the honor of being recognized is a very wonderful, and I'm ever so grateful to it. Who does the recognition come from? The recognition comes from uni, who during my time earlier in the years we refer to as Fiat. The role that Fiat or uni had played in our lives in South Africa can never be erased nor forgotten. They played a very, very important role in our lives to get us to where we were. Just to show my gratefulness, because I had not voted for many years. The first time I had gone to vote, we were already 3 generations. It was myself, my daughter, and my granddaughter. And therefore, when you vote, you have to put a cross on the paper. I looked at all the pens that I had to say which is the important pen to put my cross on this paper. And believe it, I used a uni pen, a Fiat pen. This is why I am so honored to be given the award. I've fought for recognition in many, many companies, many of us as trade unions. Now to be recognized, it's a great honor. And I want to say thank you, Uni, and thank you to all of you because you took the decision that one must be honored. May I just want to say that I am one of the lucky people to have been here in our country and worked with all these great people which were being mentioned by the people in the opening. And I am ever so grateful to all that. The people who are very, very important in my life, who have made a contribution, are men and women. There's a man who was called Maurice Kagan, who was the first one to point a finger when I was a government worker to say, we want you to come and start the union of the commercial workers, because there was no commercial workers union for African, so we had to start it from beginning. And he spotted me because I already was a shop steward in the Garment Workers Union, and I owe that to people like Bomama Lusim Vubelo, who had long gone and passed out of this world. There are people who have made a great contribution in getting us to where we are. I've worked with great people like Desmond Tutu. And the reason for working with Desmond Tutu was, as we were operating as a trade union, we eventually were not accepted to be accommodated in any building in South Africa, and especially in Johannesburg. So the only people who could give us accommodation and gave us recognition and accommodation was the South African Council of Churches, headed by Desmond Tutu. And they paid a price because thereafter the building was bombed and there was a great loss. I am very grateful and want to say to you, today I am not speaking to management. All the people Vavi was counting as billionaires this morning are people I've had confrontations with, and real confrontations, those billionaires. But now the focus has moved from the billionaires, and the focus is on you to say, what are you doing? What's your contribution to the nation? And I've got all the time. I am retired. I sit on my bed and read, and I watch on television and can follow you wherever you go. I do call on our ministers who were shop stewards at one time. When they've done well, I call and compliment. When they have not done well, I call and complain. And they always say, Mama Emma, you are not on retirement because you are evaluating and monitoring us in everything that you are doing. Please, now I want you to know that don't just point fingers to management and to government and all that. Can the finger point at us? What are we doing which is benefiting the workers and the world? When you read a newspaper, to you South Africans, when you read a newspaper and you read and see things falling apart, you always just say, why are things falling apart? Because you've got better knowledge than ourselves during our time. So please know that we are watching, we are looking at you. Management aside, the focus is on you now to say, what are you doing? On the 27th of November, I attended a meeting where I was saying, this is now my last board meeting. I am now retiring from everything. And the reason why I chose the 27th of November is because the 27th of November is the date when Neil Agate and ourselves were detained, and our dear Neil Agate, who was a medical doctor but chose to play the role of a trade union, was killed in prison. So Neil Agate, I just said to you, now this is the day to say enough is enough. In wishing you well, I want to say thank you for the recognition and thank you for the opportunity given to me of working with all the other people and the people of the world. There was a time when I was in detention. I think that the trade unions in Australia made a very, very good comment and said, South Africa, if you don't release Mama Emma, your rugby players are not going to be served in our hotels. And now, rugby is a very, very important thing for South Africa. Lastly, I want to say, my grandchildren were challenging me not so long ago, saying to me, Koko, Koko means granny. You have served on the National Manpower Commission. Are you a man or are you a woman? And therefore, watch out, girls. When these people name organizations, they must be inclusive of you women as well. Lastly, it's just to say thank you. There's a young man who spoke here this morning. Wow, young man, I really loved you. Keep it up.
Owen.
Keep the spirit. His name is Owen.
Yes.
Owen, wherever you are my great-grandchild, but I take my hat off for you. This is my exit now in saying thank you to the South Africans and thank you to the trade union world as a whole. I just want to know that whilst being a trade unionist. I benefited by getting sons in the trade union. I'm speaking about the J. Naidus, the Jayendra Naidus, and all that, because they are the ones who maintain me and look after me today. Those are the children who care and cater for me as we started working with them from nothing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. People.